Hey, babe.
Yes, ma'am.
What do most men want in a woman?
Realness, authenticity, a woman that's intelligent, that...
I'm not sure I understand it, but everything seems brighter now than before. I don't know why I feel this way, but every time I hear your name.
Put that foot down now, that's awesome. All right, done. You get twisted. That is.
It's all because of you. I feel the way I do. You make my dreams come true, yeah. It's all because of you.
Look at this fine thing at work.
And I don't fall in love so easily, 'cause I don't wear my heart up on my sleeve. Yeah. I don't know if you feel the same, but every time I hear
So happy to be here. Oh, there we are. We are elated you joined us today. This moment in your life is an investment to better your future self and in your relationship. Welcome everyone to our Wednesday show on the Evening Rush Network. We are your hosts, Shone and Lanell, with My Bulletproof Marriages. We've been married for 19 years and we are raising 4 amazing humans in the love state of VA. So, we're making a few changes. And when I mean few, it's only our email address. If you would like to reach us, send us questions, concerns, you want to talk about it on live, then please hit us up at e360tvlive.com.
Yeah, or hit us up on social media, because like the website and all that, we doing some things and switching some things. So all that normal stuff won't be the way to reach us, right?
If you'd like to call in, it is 929-282-0266. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
So once again, go ahead and call us in if you have any concerns or questions while we are already on here, and we can answer them. 929-282-0266.
Boom.
All right.
Yeah,
So let's get to it.
Like last time we were on the show 2 weeks ago, our last show, we talked about communication, specifically how to fight, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's real easy, or it's easier to have a discussion when we're not talking about a hard topic, or there's some type of struggle. When all of that isn't there, it's pretty easy to talk, right? But it's a different ball game when there's some stress, when there's some disagreement, when it's hard. So we have to learn how to communicate. And the whole goal in this is to give you guys an ingredient, or a recipe with ingredients that will ensure that your marriage stays bulletproof, or your relationship. And communication really is one of those ingredients that you can sprinkle as much as you want, right? Like you can boom, 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 throw it on there, because it really is one of the most important things in a relationship. Mm-hmm. And we said that it's like the lifeblood of a relationship. And I'm not going to stop stressing that to everyone, because it's one thing that we just don't have as a society is communication. And you said something earlier, we were talking about the show, and she was like, there's layers to communication. Mm-hmm. And then there's what each person was taught on how to communicate.
Right. A lot of people come in with like unknowing how to communicate, because you weren't taught that. That's not something like you take a class on in school, right? You can take an etiquette class, but is actually not even required any longer. I think it was like probably decades ago actually, but nowadays no. And I think a lot of people would benefit in a relationship, but not even just a relationship like getting married or dating. I think even in a workforce, right? People don't know how to communicate. There's always miscommunication in the workforce, from a boss to a coworker to, the janitor that's just going around. There's so many different people in this world that don't know how to just have a conversation. Nowadays, people don't even know how to look each other in the eye. It's so rare to look someone in the eye and have a conversation. A lot of people are just so fixated on in their phones or in their computer or doing something else other than giving somebody the attention that they deserve when you're talking to them.
Well, and we also avoid confrontation.
Big time.
And one of the things that, and this isn't today's topic, but it needs to be said. Look, confrontation is a part of relationships, whether you're talking about on the job, but especially in, a romantic relationship. It's not the problems that really are the biggest issue. It's our lack of confronting them. Okay. We don't want to deal with it. We want to sweep it under the rug and hope it goes away. And it never does, right? It always comes back intensified, like 3 or 10 times worse than it was. And, usually we do the same thing. And man, we get the same results, right?
Or even
and
worse.
Right. So we have to break that cycle. And that's the goal, right? Is to give you a recipe that is effective and helps you break that cycle. So why are we bringing up the communication? Because what we're going to discuss today, we could have easily dropped in there because it really goes hand in hand with communication. All right. And so today we're going to talk about 2 more ingredients to this bulletproof marriage recipe that we are creating with you all. All right. And that first thing is I just lost it. Is avoiding the expectation trap. Right. And so like unfulfilled expectations truly do destroy relationships. Okay. And this is a deep thing. And so we'll try to cover it the best we can in the time that we have tonight. But our expectations, man,
they leave a sour taste in everybody's mouth.
Right. And and here's, I want to say this. Some expectations are valid and they should be held, right? Like in a relationship, there are some things that we all have to do. If you got kids, you got bills, you have things. And so there's certain expectations that are within reason. I think it's the unrealistic expectations that is the problem, and the uncommunicated expectations. Okay. Even in communicating, sometimes we have an expectation on how we want our partner to respond.
Yeah.
And when that response isn't delivered, we start feeling a certain kind of way. And so we have to get to the bottom of this expectation, because it can become a trap, but it doesn't have to be, right? And so that's what we're going to get into.
All right. So next one is the cause for resentment. Resentment is like a poison which slowly kills the relationship as it moves through the relationship.
Yeah.
Man, it's like a snake bite, right?
Yeah.
What do we say about a snake bite?
It only bites you once.
That's it. And it's not the bite
that kills you.
It's the poison that slowly creeps through your body. And that's resentment. You start resenting somebody, you start resenting your partner for things that you were expecting of them that they could not fulfill, because one, they just didn't even know that you wanted that because you didn't communicate that with them, or that you were expecting of them, or they were expecting of you, but you both didn't have this conversation about something that you needed or you wanted, or like he said, even how they're supposed to say it,
or it's out of their character
or
altogether, right? And like, man, this is. And real quick, before we get into that, why is this so dangerous? Because she talked about the poison, right? Well, that poison flows through the body of its host, right? And it slowly, y'all, kills its host. When we begin to resent our partner, it might start, let's say, over something small, maybe a kitchen chore, right? We were expecting our partner to close the kitchen drawer. We never said anything other than maybe getting mad at them, like, I can't believe you didn't do this.
But they didn't say nothing.
Right, but you didn't really have a conversation. Now they starting to feel something, right? But then it begins to transfer into different areas. So now, you go on with the day, and they're already feeling a certain kind of way over this thing that keeps happening. And now let's say you a little late for something, or you overspend over here, or you don't fold the laundry the way they want you to. And now that resentment creeps into this. See, they can't even do this right. Next thing you know, it's in multiple areas of your relationship. And in a blink of an eye, the entire relationship has been overtaken with resentment and hate. And it all started with just this one bite, but we never took care of it. Right. We never got the poison out.
Obviously, never got the poison out. Yep.
Yep. And it just ran its course. And we see a lot of relationships that
end up breaking up, end up dead, right? Because that's what poison does. It kills you. And so a relationship breaks up because of the resentment that's in your relationship, because you never had these conversations. You never talked about these things. You never pulled out the venom that was inside the body.
And you trace it back, and it was just this one incident, right? It started with this, and then honestly, when we're honest with ourselves, we can usually trace it back to the thing that started our resentment. Okay. And so we're going to go into this, right? Because of how dangerous this is, because it will destroy your relationship. So number 3, babe.
All right. The solution is continual communication of each other's expectation, ensuring that the expectations remain realistic.
Yes.
Amen. So it's no different than when we first got together and we got married. I was expecting for him to be like every other man I knew, which was like very handy. Like you could fix anything, right? Of course you can.
I'm a man.
And he's a man. That's what men do. Men fix. So I was like, yeah, he got this. And we get married, and one, I didn't know he had a conversation with my mother, and she had asked him, are you a paying man or you're a fixing man? And of course he was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, well, there's two different men. There's men that are willing to pay to get stuff fixed, and there's men that are willing to fix it on their own. And so I'm thinking for sure he can fix this, but he couldn't. My husband is not handy in that way. And
I'm handy in a lot of other ways.
He is handy in a lot of other ways, but he's just not handy in fixing, whether it's a sink that's broke, or, over years of us financially not having funds, right? And he realizing that maybe I could go ahead and use a hammer and some tools, and maybe I could fix it myself without having to pay. Yes, he's become very handy. But before, when we first got together, I really was upset with him because there were a lot of things that I needed him to fix, or I was expecting of him to fix, and he just couldn't. It was not of him.
And we didn't have a conversation. Right. And so what we're saying is, when you're having this conversation, we talked about communicating, right? And so you have to sit down, you set a time, right, to have this conversation. You eliminate your distractions. You're staying on topic, right? This is the topic. And you express what you need or what you want, what you're expecting, okay? And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. If your partner says, hey, I really need you to fix this sink, okay, because it's clogging every other day. We got kids. I'm a woman. I can't do it. You're a man. You're supposed to do it. Okay. Every man needs to know how to do it. So you need to just go ahead and do it. Now, here's part of the communication. She's expressing what she needs and what she wants, but it's just as much my job to tell her whether I can or I can't. Okay. So you have to be able to be man or woman enough to say, look, babe, I hear you. Right. And you know what? I agree. We do need to get this fixed, but I don't know nothing about that. And that's not in my blood. I don't have a desire to learn how to fix the sink. And so, you know what? I will work some things out, and we're going to save some money over here. And I got a home warranty. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and use that. Okay. So that way this thing can get fixed the right way, and this problem doesn't keep persisting. Okay. And so now her expectations are being fulfilled, but she also is able to set a more realistic expectation now. All right, that's not my husband.
Right.
Okay. And this goes both ways, men with women, women with men, right? Partner to partner. You have to be able to effectively communicate. And that doesn't mean you just take it. Okay. Hear me, y'all. Y'all have to be adult enough to say I can or I can't do that. Okay, but this is in the beginning, then you compromise, right? But I can do this, right? And we can make a plan, and together we're gonna get this expectation fulfilled.
Right.
Okay, it just might not look exactly how you had painted it initially,
Right.
right? And we've done that
Millions of times.
right.
And that's we actually learned how to come together, because there was a lot of times, like I said, that he didn't know how to fix a lot of stuff, but I was like, okay, wait, like we have to get this done. And financially at the time we couldn't afford to call anybody.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, thank God for you two.
And friends
and yeah, friends,
family.
and we call people up like, how
Her
do we get
brother's
this
a
done? Yeah,
genius.
he is. And so I call him up like, hey, how do I fix this? How do we do this? And he'd walk us through and go get this from Lowe's, or hey, I'm coming up this weekend, I'll help you guys fix it. And that's how I actually like fixing things. And so, you know, we like reversed our roles here, but that's okay. For us it works. You know, maybe for some people that's not their thing, but there's no gender, I would say, what is it? We don't have any gender roles around here, you
right.
know. At the end of the
get
day,
in where you fit
that's
in, right?
it. Wherever we all work together in this house.
yeah. And I mean, there's tons of stuff that I still do a lot of stuff outdoors.
Sure.
I'm not super I just never was into that. And so it is what it is, right? This isn't about me. This is about you guys. And so the second part of this is make sure that our
communication, it remains realistic.
Yes, realistic, because like the problem that we run into in society is that between social media, our friends, our family, we begin to adopt ideas that we know aren't like our spouse or our partner. Okay. We know that this ain't them, but we're forming an expectation based on the input that we're getting from friends, family, whatever, co-workers. Okay. And we are not communicating. One, we're not even communicating that we're getting this, but now we're secret. It's almost like a secret expectation. Like, you better do this. And then when they don't, you feel in a certain way, but you can't say nothing because you ain't, but the whole time you're steaming, and it's going to come out somewhere. Okay. And then when it does, usually your partners really hit off guard, and they're like,
clueless.
Well, hold on, man.
Like what's happening? Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So ensure that these things are aligning with who your partner is, y'all. Like you should know who you're with. All right. And if you don't, you need to ask, right? Like, which is the first part of this, right? But I think a lot of this can be really stopped if we just put some thought into who we're with, right?
I think, but I think a lot of times people don't take the time to actually have these conversations. That's the biggest problem. Yeah. You don't have these conversations prior to, getting married, or, even being in a long-term relationship. You just kind of like go with the flow of how life is just kind of, going each day. And then you find out as you are in this marriage, you find out as you are in this relationship, like, God, they're not like this, they're not like this. That's why it's so important that you really do get to know the person for who they are. And I mean, that's why you have to really start paying attention to the person that you're with, like not what they're the actions that they're showing you, not what they're saying. Because people can say a lot of things, but the actions have to back it up. And if I would have thought, hindsight 2020, I've never seen this man fix anything when we dated.
Right.
So why 100%. Would I expect for all of a sudden for me to get married to him, and then he's just supposed to be handy?
Right. And we do that a lot. We and that's why people always say once we got married, things changed.
Yeah.
Right. Because all of a sudden we think that a ring or a piece of like this ceremony somehow altered the state of the person that I've been with, for however long. It doesn't work like that. So in order to find out who we are and who our partner is, we have to be intentional. And that's what I hear my wife saying, like, we don't have these conversations, so be intentional and have them, right? Make it a point. Even they don't take long. You could do it on the way to the store. Don't make excuses. This is the other thing that we do. Well, we don't have to. We're busy. We got 2 jobs. We got 2 kids. Man, we both worked, had 4 kids, and we still made time for a conversation. You can do it on the way to 7-Eleven, get gas. Stop making excuses. All right. If you truly care about your relationship, you do what you got to do in order to get the information and create that communication that flow of communication is what I'm trying to get at, right, with your partner, so that way you guys can be on the same page. Uh, all of this is staying on the same page,
Yeah.
right? That's why the expectations is such a big thing, because it takes us off the same page, right? They're shooting up here, I'm shooting down here, and we wonder why we're missing each other,
Right.
you know? And so,
And you constantly stay in your feelings all the time
right,
when you're expecting for something to happen and it's not fulfilled. Then you feel like you're unfulfilled within yourself. You're like, man, my cup is not being filled over here, right? And it's got to be their fault. No, actually, it's your fault because you expected this, not even having a conversation, not knowing what's going on. And I think that's the key point. And we'll get to that whole
well,
point fingers and
well, I want to say something on that, because you brought up a good point. So, like, all right, in the bedroom, right? This is something that we talk about being fulfilled. A lot of women are not fulfilled in the bedroom, okay? And they act like they are, okay? They're trying to make their spouse feel really good about themselves, right? But they're not, okay? And it wasn't until my wife told me that for women, it's a mental thing. For us, for at least for me, right? It's not a mental thing, right? It does not take much thought for me to, to get what I came to go get. You know what I'm saying? But for a woman, it does. And so understanding that changed my approach, because up to that point, I was handling it the wrong way, hoping that I would get the results that I wanted. I was hoping I was going to get my cake and eat it too. And I was missing, right? I was missing hard. So she had to have that conversation. She had to open that line of communication. She had to be honest. And through that communication, the truth, which will set us free.
Amen.
Okay? And yes, and she was free. Okay. Shortly after I understood what was expected or needed of me in that department. And so I'm just saying, like, this is in every area, okay, of our lives, that we have to open this up. Now, number 4, which is already up there, when these expectations, we've communicated them, right? But our partner is kind of, being them and not really doing their part. What do we do?
Then you have to plan. Excuse me, I lost my track of thought real quick. Then you have to turn around and you have to have another conversation about that. This is I've already addressed this with you. I've already had this conversation with you, and I'm a little confused on how come you seem to understand where I was coming from, but it's still not being dealt with. I have communicated with you. I have been open. I have been honest with you, and yet it's not being fulfilled, right? This no longer an expectation because I've already told you what I needed from you. I've already, and so then I'm just expecting that we had this conversation and you're going to follow through with your part, and then you don't. And it's like, well, okay, we got to go back and revisit this and kind of talk about this and plan this.
You don't get to escape, right? You don't get to have the conversation once, and be like,
okay, I heard you,
right?
And to keep it moving.
Okay, no, we're gonna revisit this joke. Okay, and we do this all the time.
We do.
We will revisit this thing until
it is dealt with.
Yeah, until somebody grabs a hold of it. But what we've come to find out too is a lot of times when we revisit, we realize that one person was bullshitting. Yeah. Right. And that's why it hadn't been getting done.
Right.
They just were a yes person. Oh, yeah. Okay. They went no intention behind it. Okay. Or they didn't have the heart to say, I can't fulfill that the way that you want me to, which is what the first thing that we told y'all to do. But a lot of us don't have the heart because we don't want to somehow make them feel bad. But what's worse? Them staying unfulfilled, being confused, and then now being angry because they, had a conversation with you. Or just coming out and being like, yo, that ain't me. Right? But I love you enough to make this thing work. We're going to work together. We're going to figure this thing out.
Yep.
Right? I'm pretty sure your partner is going to honor and respect that 1,000 times more.
Yep.
And so that's the one thing, but there's something else that I want to address, right? And that's, listen, okay, yeah, they're not fulfilling it. So we have that conversation, but what if they are?
Oh,
what if you had that conversation and man, they're hitting bullseye?
Come on.
Right? They're actually following through, right? They're doing the things that you would ask them to do. What do you do then?
You better show them some gratitude.
Yes.
Gratitude goes a long way. I think there's not enough people that show gratitude for what it is that somebody's done for them. Okay, how they've gone out their way. And for us, man, when we both started following through what we said we were going to do for each other and then came back and said, I see you. I see you. I
Right.
appreciate you so much because you know what? We had this conversation. You started doing this for me. And you know what? It's working out. You know, hey, in the bedroom, it was, thank you, Jesus. You
Look
know,
like Steph Curry at that joint.
at the end of the day, it's just small, in these small things. It really is. It becomes so, it's like less stressful in your relationship when you both have a conversation, when you're both fulfilling each other's cup, when you both are on the same page, aligning with each other, right? And you don't feel like it's one-sided. You're the one that's always doing, always giving, always making sure this person is good, right? You like, okay, God, this what you need from me? Okay, I'm doing it. Okay, this what you need from me? I'm doing. No, it's both of you. And
And
then you're
both are
both
grateful.
showing each other love through
Yeah.
that, right? Showing each other, giving each other words of encouragement, you know, just being there for it's supportive of each other. All these little things that you're showing your partner, like, I see you. That's the biggest thing for me for gratitude is like, I see you. I see what you're doing for me. I see how much you're putting the effort that you're putting into it. Even if they don't have it fulfilled all the way, even if they're still messing up here and there, they
Yeah.
might
But
yo
they trying.
just one, yeah,
Right.
one little inch, give them some encouragement. It will take them to the next.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It really does empower you
it
to take that
does.
next step and or continue
Mm-hmm.
to do what you're doing, right? But to be seen, to be recognized on a consistent
To be
basis,
heard.
and to be in a relationship where it's not a dictatorship.
Right.
It's two people that want to be there, want to be a part of this team, recognize each other for what they do and what they contribute to not just each other, but to the vision that you all have and the life that you're trying to create. Who wouldn't want to be in a relationship like that, right? Not saying that you don't have off days, okay? Because we're very honest with that, right? But you're going to have a lot more on days than off days if this is how you move,
Right.
right? If this is how you treat each other and love each other and express your love and your gratitude for each other, you know. So let the expectations, they can really be something that hinders you,
Mm-hmm.
or they can be something that elevates your relationship, enables you all to strengthen your communication, work as a team, because those things that maybe aren't your partner, now you're working together to see how you can fulfill what needs to get done. Okay. And so you're strengthening that team aspect as well. Okay. So when the harder things come down the pipe, you guys have already practiced communication, problem solving, right? Working as a team. Um, and so this is a very powerful thing, and something that I would encourage everyone to deal with
Mm-hmm.
sooner than later in your relationship, because I guarantee you every relationship has expectations that are being
Individuals and then together as a couple, you do. Yeah. And like
I
I said, it'll also help you even outside of your relationship. It will help you just in general with life, you know, because expectations are, I think, like it's like a rope, you know, that kind of like ties a knot that will just keep you hindered, right, from moving forward with what your goals are in life and what you're supposed to be doing, and what you're, because you're expecting so much out of just your thoughts. A lot of time it's just your thoughts that you're thinking of things that I'm expecting this, or I know this is going to happen, this and this. You have to be able to communicate properly what you're expecting from any and everybody in your life, so that way you're not getting hurt. That's what it is. You're not getting hurt when you put that out there. Okay, you put it out to the universe, let the universe knows what you want and you need. You put out to your partner, this is what I want and this is what I need. You put it out to your job, this, you know, you put out to your friends and your family, like any and every aspect of your life. The expectation should be put out there so that way you're not getting hurt.
And I'm gonna say this too before we because we're gonna take a quick little commercial break, but also listen, man, like sometimes our expectations don't need to be worked on. They need to be. We need to be honest and say that we were out of pocket, right, with what we were expecting from the people in our lives. Okay. And I just wanted to say, because I know I was like, we'll work on fulfilling that expectation, but some expectations just they out of pocket, man. Right? Like just shouldn't even be in the equation.
You know
Okay.
that you only make $30,000 a year, right? But you expecting to go on a cruise or somewhere crazy, and it's gonna cost your family like $50,000. Like that's unrealistic. Just because your girl can move that way, that or your boy can move that way, that don't mean you can move that way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like that's an unexpected, an unrealistic, unrealistic expectation. You got to understand where you're at for reality and what is showing you, and then move in that way, right? Just like your partner, you got to look at your partner for who they are, what they bring to the table, how they move, right? And then direct your relationship in that manner.
Right. All right. So real quick, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna hit the second ingredient that we want to talk about tonight. All right. So we'll see you in just a few seconds.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your girl, Chrissy, here to let you know that the Evening Rush Network now has an app. Yes, an app, you guys, so you can stay connected on the go and watch all your favorite podcast shows. You can download the app at Google Play Store or Apple iTunes. So spread the word. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Also, if you're looking to start a podcast and really don't know how, well, hit us up at the Evening Rush Network at gmail.com and inquire about time slots, pricings, and everything you may need to get started. We got you. Join the winning team, the Evening Rush Network. And also, download that app. What are you waiting for? Get to it.
Hey. You know what time it is, right? It's time for y'all to download that app.
I know,
Stop
that's
playing.
right.
Stop playing and get to it, man. You already on that phone, I know, right? Checking Facebook, Instagram, whatever y'all go ahead and download that. Go to the App Store today. All right? It's too easy. So, we talked about the expectation trap,
Mhm.
okay? And I think that we covered that fairly well. The next thing, this ingredient really changed our marriage. It
Mhm.
really did. I always say that communication is the most powerful, but man, there's something. This is like the X factor, okay? And that secret sauce, that secret ingredient in a relationship, and not just a relationship, in your life.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you're watching this and maybe you're dating or
You're single.
or you're single and you just you know sometime in the future you're gonna, but somehow you just watching this. This applies to every single human. Okay, and that's extreme ownership. Okay, and if you don't know what extreme ownership is, right, I'm gonna give you the definition. All right, and that way we can go from there, and that way we're all on the same page. All right, but the extreme ownership was coined by a Navy SEAL named Jocko, right? And it is the practice of taking responsibility for everything in your world, your actions and decisions, the actions and decisions of your team, as well as factors that you don't control directly, but that affect the overall strategic goals you are setting out to achieve. I know that was a mouthful, but basically you're taking responsibility of
Mhm.
every factor in your life. Okay. You know, one of the, so this example won't necessarily apply to a relationship, but it really explains extreme ownership in a nutshell. And that's when I got hit off my motorcycle. In the beginning, like when I first recovered, I was a little angry, right? Because I was doing everything right. And in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of bystanders, every person I've talked to, they would say, you have every right to be upset. This shouldn't have happened. Okay. I was in the right lane. I mean, I had my helmet on. I had I had a souped up stereo on my bike. You could hear me in another state, right? So you would think that no one would be able to do this, but it did happen.
Mm.
And for a long time, I was pointing the finger at the person that hit me, right? And I began to do a lot of soul searching
Mhm.
during this period of my life. And I started looking at me, right? What could have I done differently? Okay. And, I started to realize I chose to get on that bike. That man didn't make me get on that bike. I'm not saying that. We're not saying that people aren't guilty or they're guiltless.
Mm.
Okay. So
Mhm.
don't think that that's what
Right.
we're saying. Like you should just be giving passes for people to hurt you.
Right.
Okay. But you can't control people. That's the main point in this. You can't control some of these things. So you focus and you hone in on what you can control.
Correct.
That's you. That's your decisions. That's how you handled whatever was going on. Right. And so I began to dissect all of this, right? How I should have paid a little more attention to how the cars were moving in the lane beside me, how I chose to get on that motorcycle after already being hit once before, right? Should have had my wake up call. I didn't. So there's a lot of things that I began to own up to on myself,
Mhm.
right? And what that does is it puts you, well, and that's the next thing, I guess. But
I will for our
yeah,
relationship, I'll say that I had to take extreme ownership. The first 10 years, if you guys have been following us, our relationship was horrible. It really was. I'll say that. It was horrible. And I blamed him a lot for a lot of our relationships, saying that he was very immature and he didn't know himself and, just all these things. He didn't have good examples of what a relationship looks
I
like.
did.
And he didn't. I mean, he was immature. And, all the things I was saying wasn't necessarily wrong. It's just that one, I was never looking at what I was doing in the relationship. I had never once took responsibility for my part. And I allowed him to take on all the negative feedback that was coming from our friends and our family and outsiders. And he was taking it.
Yeah,
And
I was the bullseye,
he
yo.
really was. And instead of instead of a instead of owning up to the part that I played in it, like I'm the one, that was always in his face. I'm the one that was starting most of the arguments. I was the one, that was causing a lot of the chaos in our relationship. I was. And until I had said to him finally one day, and of course this was like years after we had started being good again, I was like, yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm really sorry for all those years that you took the blunt of the negative impact that our relationship faced. And I am really sorry for not owning up to my part in this relationship and uh not working on myself. I was miserable within myself, which then that lashed out onto him in our relationship. And that wasn't fair. That really wasn't.
Yeah.
And it would have changed things, if I would have just taken that ownership, but I didn't. And thank God he stayed around and he dealt with my craziness and we got through it.
And this is really a lot of relationships. We get to a point where we're pointing a finger
Mm-hmm.
at each other
Yeah.
and we're not looking in the mirror.
Right.
Okay, we're doing the opposite of what we should be doing.
Yeah.
If both of you would look at yourselves, okay, and begin to take responsibility for what the parts that you're playing
Mm-hmm.
and the things that you can begin to change
Right.
to get the results that you want, right? It's not just the part that you're playing, but what can I do differently
You're right.
to get the results that we both want? Man, I hate fighting with my girl every night, but yet you ain't gonna address how you can alter that.
Right.
You just gonna bitch about it, right? Because that's the
That's
solution,
right.
right? That's gonna help you, right? And I get it. I was there for a long time, so I'm not trying to make anybody feel a certain kind of way, but it's just truth, right? We say one thing and then we keep doing the thing that's getting us where we don't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The only way out is to look in the mirror and begin to analyze because again, you cannot control your partner.
Right.
If they choose to lose it, they choose to lose it. If they choose not to change, they choose not to change. Let me tell you something. It's a win-win for you because even if they don't change, you have.
Right. Oh, that was huge. Oh my God. When he started changing, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I'm
you're
so
good.
sorry, but that's the truth. Like when he started really focusing on himself and he stopped focusing on how chaotic I was and the moments that I was going crazy, and he really stopped engaging with me in that. He stopped engaging with me. Like, yo, if that's how you're gonna be, okay,
Cool.
we
Yeah.
cool, we good, I'm good. And he just stayed so calm and collective and just kept just being calm, it really forced me to then really seek myself, because then I'm like, damn, like he's not even going back and forth with me. I have no reason. I'm fighting with myself at this point. I'm fighting with
Right,
myself
because it takes two
because
to
it
fight,
takes two to
right?
fight, and he's not fighting with me. So at the end of the day, I have to then see what is going on with you, girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? What is happening here? Because you're still doing the same revolving door, the same freaking cycle over and over again, right? He's already left the building.
Yeah.
He didn't left the building, and you still going around and around in that same, like I said, revolving door. You got to eventually one day stop that. You've got to say to yourself, this is not working. It wasn't working for him, and that's why he walked away, and that's why he stopped. And then it stopped working for me. And it really did. I mean, it just shifted our whole marriage in such a positive way instead of being so negative. And you've got to be able to hone in on yourself, just really seek yourself in that, and just say, okay, I do not want this any longer. I, like he said, I don't want this anymore, but what do I need to do to change that?
And some things you can't, like, here's the point I want to make with the things that you can't change, right? Because just the definition is like, you take responsibility of everything, even the unforeseen things. Okay, the things that you couldn't even
You can't
imagine to
control.
happen, right?
Right.
And they happen. So like, it's raining. Can I help that it's raining? No, but what can I do? I can get an umbrella, right? I can walk under the overhang. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's ways that I can strategically move despite what's happening and still get where I'm going.
Mhm.
Do y'all hear what I'm saying? And you can do the same thing in your marriage and in any other part of your life. Okay. And if both of you are moving like this in a relationship, man, that's powerful.
Mhm.
That's powerful. Okay. Because now we're not doing this no more.
Right.
This doesn't get you nowhere, y'all. But 98% of relationships are doing this. Right? Because we don't want to, because it's hard to look at yourself.
It is.
It's hard to look in the mirror, y'all. It's uncomfortable.
A lot of people say, like, oh, this is just how I am. I used to say that all the time. This is
Yeah.
how, you know how I am. This is just me.
Man, you
Like I
gotta
couldn't change. Like I couldn't change. It was like the weirdest thing, right? Now hindsight 2020, looking back and realizing the shit that was coming out of my mouth, that didn't make no sense. I was supposed to change. I was supposed to be evolving. I was supposed to be
Yeah.
growing, right? It's supposed to be maturing. I have children that are seeing this as an example, right? I don't want them in a relationship like this. I don't want them going out in this world being like this, but this is this is what they're seeing. And if they think that this is okay because they saw their mother act like this, and they think, oh, well, she act like that, she's fine, everything's good. What do you think they're gonna act like?
And the thing is like, and this leads to the next point,
Mhm.
because as you're both doing this, you are increasing, that communication we were talking about, because now I'm owning up.
Right.
Like, yo, you know what? I dropped the ball over here. I should have done it. I should have moved left, whatever the case is, right? Problem solving. Okay. But now both of you are identifying what you could have done differently. You're beginning to see the problem, not so much in a negative light, but in a solution oriented light.
Amen.
Okay. And that's, she created that, we solution oriented.
Solution oriented, and everything.
And this is where
you
it came
do.
from, actually. It came from beginning to take responsibility of
Mhm.
every facet of our life. And then you begin to say, okay, hold on, this is what's going on. This is what I can control. This is what I can't control. But so how do I still get to where I'm going? Okay, I'm going to do this. Now, both of you are doing that. You're increasing the communication. You're working as a team. You begin to innovate. You begin to really become creative
Mhm.
on the solutions in your marriage.
Yep.
Man, all right, so I'm gonna keep it. I don't know if we've told this story or not on here, but the money story.
So
So
$25.
yeah, so we were broke. Okay, early in our marriage, right? Like, I'm talking beyond broke. Couldn't pay for diapers. Okay, like it was bad, and there was a point. We all have super low moments, right? Where it's like lower than usual low. And I think, just gotten paid. And because we had so many bills and so many things that were outstanding, my whole paycheck went, and we had zero money. So we had to scrounge around, and we came up with $25 and change. I still had, I think, 2 weeks until I was going to get paid.
Mhm.
I have 4 kids that we have to go grocery because we had no food in the house. right? All of that money went to just keeping the lights on and the creditors from trying to take me to court, and we had to figure out how to sustain a family of 6 with $25 in change. We didn't ask for help.
Nope.
Okay. What we did is we became solution oriented. And this is before we even knew about this stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. But we were already showing signs of innovation. Right. And we got creative and we figured a way out.
That's right.
Okay.
Went to the grocery store.
And we did.
Calculator on our phone.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, we're going to do
we worked
this.
it.
We're going to do this.
Coupons and
Yeah,
all kinds of
I'm a
stuff,
coupon,
man.
use this, and we did it, and we got through those 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
and you know what, and that was rough. That was rough.
It was tight,
man. But man, we did it. We look back now, and we're so grateful for us sticking together. We could have blamed each other. Well, because of this bill for this came out for you.
Yeah,
because
you
of this, you should have
never
never bought that. You see, because you
done.
did this. You can't change what already's happened, right? You can't change what's already happened.
You know what?
And you don't even know what's about to happen. So let me tell you real quick. I got to tell
say about the bills.
No. I'm about to say that blessing.
Oh yeah.
So let me tell y'all real quick. It was another low moment for us. We went $25 short. No, actually, we was even lower than that. We actually have no money.
Yeah,
no money in our bank account. Zero. And we was going to this new church at the time that when we lived, and we were like, okay. And he had $20, I think, in his pocket. $20 in his pocket.
I had to use it for. Oh yeah,
remember?
Because I had no gas money.
Because he had no gas money. He had no gas money, and but there was a service that evening. And so he wanted to go. And so I said, okay, well, the kids, I didn't know how long they were going to, how long the service was going to last. So I said, no, I'm going to stay home with the 3 youngest. You take our oldest. And he did. So he took the oldest. They went. And I said, I'm going to stay home with the babies. And he called me up and he was like, yeah, the weirdest thing just happened now. I'm like, okay. He's like, I got an envelope. He was like, from one of the ladies that go to church here. He's like, and I'm not going to open it until I get in the car. I was like, okay, cool. So he was like, yeah, he's like, I don't know why I felt led, but I feel led to give this $20. And I'm like, no,
I'd already given the $20.
I'm like, we don't have.
Before she gave it to me.
Yeah, he already gave the $20 before the lady had gave him the envelope. And I was like, no, when he hit me up, like, I'm gonna give the $20. I felt led to give $20, and I was like, no, I was like, I know that we should give. I was like, but we was already at the morning service. I was like, we was good. We gave a little something there that we had, and we have nothing left. Like, we got nothing. And he was like, no, I really do feel led. And I said, okay, I'll fine then. I'm gonna trust you. Go ahead and give, And he did. And then service was over. He got in the car and he's on his way home. And he calls me up like almost in tears. And I'm like, what's up? What's going on? And he's like, you wouldn't believe. You would not believe. And I said, I do believe. I do believe. So what's up? And he said, why did this lady just give us a $500 check?
Yep.
And I was like, what?
I didn't
he
know
was like,
this lady.
I went. He's like, and so we went back to go find her.
She was gone.
Gone.
She saw, and it was weird is she gave it to me as I was coming out the back. I went to the restroom, and as I was coming out to go back in the main auditorium, she was like, hey, I just feel like she said something, and she's like, God wanted me to bless you. And I thought it was like $1 or $2, like no one's ever given, people just never done stuff like that for me. And so I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought she was, a couple dollars, and I was going to be grateful for it, because I had just given my last 20. So I was like, hey, but $500,
$500. And we
$500, and again, couldn't find it. It was God, man. And that just goes to show you, one, to follow your gut and your intuition, but how things can turn right when you're at your lowest. But because we weren't blaming each other, we were just rocking with each other.
That's it. We were just we just both trusted each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, we both trusted each other. We both were a team at that time. We were both just rocking with what. I know you guys say something.
Yeah. I want to say something, because that's like a good version of things that happen. But one of the things about extreme ownership is we used to get in fights because I said yes to her doing something, or she said yes to me doing something. Okay. and then it was a money strain, right? It was something that hurt us in the long run, okay? But she had said okay to it, and now she's coming back giving me hell about it,
Yes.
right? She's mad because we spent the money, or there's a monthly payment that we can't afford now, and things have gotten tight. Part of extreme ownership is saying, look, I agreed to that.
Yep.
I'm gonna own up to the fact
Right.
that I co-signed on this, and it's done. Can't change it. All we can do is work on moving forward
That's it.
from where we are right now. Okay. And that's what we did with the $20. But it took us all these other times of blaming each other and
Yes.
getting mad at things that we had already co-signed. We had helped put ourselves where we were.
Right.
You are where you are. Well, and yeah. So I guess that leads me to the next thing, because the next point is that you are where you are because of the decisions that you've made.
Amen.
The decisions you've made. Okay. She got pregnant at 17 because of the decisions that she made. Okay. We were in debt because of the decisions that we made,
That's
y'all.
right.
Okay. We can blame creditors. We can blame the government. We can blame me not having a GED. We can blame my upbringing.
You can bring in race. You can,
can blame 1,000
everything.
things.
All of his excuses. It's all excuses.
You have to own up, man.
That's it.
Own where you are, because that's when you can begin to work a way through and get on the other side of this thing and begin to live a life that is beautiful.
Mhm.
And that also is we're talking about money and stuff, but this is all ties into your relationship as well. Okay. You cannot have a prospering relationship if you won't own up to the things that you do and take ownership of what you've done to get you where
Right.
you are in that relationship.
Yep.
Right. If you've constantly cheated and your partner doesn't trust you, you put yourself there. Right. Like, I mean, like it is what it is. Right. So own up to that and
Right.
begin to make different decisions if they're still rocking with you. Because if they're still in your life, obviously they love you despite
What you doing?
the hop around, right? So stop hopping around, get it right, earn their trust back, make those positive decisions, right? Because this is how we're gonna get where we want to be, okay, in our life. And so taking ownership is powerful, man.
It is, and it really did. It will help you just elevate yourself in so many areas of your life too.
Yeah.
All right, the next one.
Yeah. Last point.
All right. Your marriage may be struggling and your partner may have let you down or hurt you, but pointing the finger will leave you with the resentment. Oh, wait,
just recapping.
That's recapping.
Yeah,
Let's go real quick. Nope. We put ourselves in the position the other day. We already, okay, my bad. We are recapping.
Yeah, we're just recapping.
Sorry.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, we're just recapping. Right? So, pointing the finger, it's going to leave you with a lot of resentment,
yes,
frustration, and the same poor decisions give you the same poor results. Okay, we have to begin to take account of what's been happening, learn from those things, and begin to make different decisions. All right, and you do that by avoiding that expectation trap, by engaging in effective communication. Okay. And beginning that extreme ownership. A lot of the ingredients to a healthy marriage has a lot to do with you as just an individual.
Mm-hmm.
Owning up to you and your shit. Okay. Understanding that your partner is just a reflection of you. And so if you see something raunchy, guess who really needs to clean up? It's you. Okay. And that was a hard pill for us to swallow because we didn't want to own up to that.
No.
All right. We wanted to continue to blame the other one.
Yes.
Say, no.
That's so easy. It's easier to blame somebody else for what you are going through than to go ahead and just, look inside yourself and make those changes. But when you start making those changes within yourself, you really do start to see such a beautiful blossom, right, of who you're really supposed to be. That's all it is. The true you starts to really come out, and you can be more free. You can be more at peace when you really start to just kind of have more. I mean, it's less stress.
Yeah.
I would say even now, earlier, I took something that he said wrong, right? And I got a little upset with him. And I mean, we don't like yell and argue. We don't do none of that anymore. We just like, all right, we just be quiet. You know, that's kind of, we just be quiet. But then I came back and was like, you know what? I am so sorry because I took that wrong.
And
You
she
know
looked me
what?
in the
And I looked
eyes.
him in the eyes, and I, you know, I just held his neck, and I, because of course I'm so short. So I was like, "Hey, come here."
Vertically
And
challenged.
one, it's not a challenge for me. Thank you. Anyways, but I was like, "Hey, I really am sorry. I took that wrong, and that had nothing to do with you. I'm gonna take ownership for me getting upset with you. All right, I love you. Please forgive me. Let's move on."
And here's the thing, I accepted that, and it was done.
Yep.
Hear me, it's done. I'm not throwing it back in her face. I'm not holding it for a rainy day. I'm not using it as ammo so that I can do something bad back to her. Okay, none of that childish stuff.
That's petty.
It's childish.
So petty.
A long-term loving relationship is for grown folk only. If you ain't willing to be grown, hop up out of that relationship and go do kid stuff. Okay, that's cool. And if this bothers you, you're welcome. Okay, obviously you needed it. That said, I think that we've covered what we wanted to tonight with you guys. I hope that it helps some people in their relationships. And again, if you have more personal questions or you would like for us to address something live next week or whatever, then, you know, go ahead and hit us up either on social media, right? It's My Bulletproof Marriage. We have a Facebook group. We have a Facebook page.
Right.
We have individual pages, right? Chad single, Lanell single. You can DM one of us if you need to, right? And or you can hit us up over our email, which she gave you in the beginning.
My Bulletproof Marriages at e360tvlive.com.
Right.
You can always call in 929-282-0266. Or you can even do better. If you need to go ahead and listen to this again, right? Or you know somebody that needs to listen to this, they could go ahead and download the Evening Rush Network app. Hello.
Yeah.
And you can listen to us, you can view us, you can get more information from us.
And look, man, this was free game.
Amen.
If this helped you, or it will help somebody else, share it with somebody like this. Okay, subscribe. Do what you got to do, depending on the platform that you're on, to support all this. If this content is blessing you and empowering your relationship, all right. So that's all I got.
All right, fam. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we can't wait to see you. Guess next Wednesday.
Yeah, I think it's next Wednesday. So
next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Evening Rush Network.
We'll see you next week.
I'm not sure I understand it, but everything seems brighter now than before.